recording? Okay. So if we look at number 1 on page 133, a man is pulling on his dog with a force of 70 newtons directed at an angle of plus 30 degrees to the horizontal. Find the x and y components. Yeah, you shouldn't pull on dogs' collars like that. So there's our dog. 133, number 1. Okay, there's our dog. There is our force originating from the center of mass of the dog. Despite the fact we know the force would be originating on the collar unless he's in a harness, but we don't get into those sorts of details.
Let's just imagine it's harness.
This is a force of 70.0 newtons at an angle of 30 degrees above the horizon. I find it helpful when I'm doing these, couple of things, because you will get to the point where you have multiple forces acting at angles. What I tend to do is I pick a color for a force, and then I do its components in the same color but a dashed line. And for a visual learner, that ties it all together for me, and it also just, it really clarifies things for me. So, we want to know what the force on the, so this is, we will call this force of leash, force of man, force of whatever. You got to have a force something. So now, of course, we have a force of leash on the x and force of leash on the y. Pardon? Force lex, force fly. Okay, so we know that the force of the leash on the x is going to be equal to cosine of 30 degrees times force of leash. FLX equals cosine 30 times 70.0 newtons. Force of leash on the x equals what? That's your cue. 60.62. Yeah, 60.62, what is it? 1778. Okay. Newtons. So with sig figs, we have 60.6. So this is 60.6 newtons. Okay, force of leash on the y is sine of 30 times force of leash. Sine 30 times 70 newtons. What's our force of leash on the y? 35. Even. 35.0 newtons. So we can now put that in here. Okay. It is useful. These are the ones where you're going to take up like 2 pages for a problem. Making the drawing large is really helpful. I have some of you who are chronic small drawers. Like you want to fit 3 problems on a page, give it up, let go. There's lots of paper behind you. When you make your drawings really tiny, you can't read all the detail, and you're going to want to start actually labeling these components. In a situation where we have multiple initial vectors that we're resolving, you're going to want to have all those labeled and color-coded. Bookkeeping, 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 bookkeeping. Okay? That's the first one that's assigned. You've got 2, 3, and 4 to do.
What is that?
So, and plus the worksheet, but these will be due Tuesday. So we'll pick up with these after break.